What's up, everybody? This is Scott with Why Compete. Today I'm going to do a shoulder workout. We're going to do a little bit different this time. We're going to break down every exercise and show you the exact motion that you should be doing on every single exercise that we do. Plus, we'll put together a little mini workout that you can also do whenever you come in. If you're a beginner, if you're advanced, you can use the same workout, just add a little bit more intensity and add set. Start with now is we're working on the rotation of the shoulder, trying to get the rotator cuff and everything warmed up. So we're starting with the bands. We're going to do internal and external rotation with the bands. When we get done with it, we'll put the bands on the floor, and on these right here, you just get to where it gets you a band where the band's tight on you and stands as far as weight. It doesn't need to be heavy at all. So the only thing you're wanting to do is you're just doing the motion, and you'll feel just a hair of resistance against it. About 20 to 25 each way with each arm. I normally do 3 or 4 sets of these before I even start. After this, we'll put a band on the floor, do the same thing. We're not really wanting a lot of resistance against it. We're just wanting to kind of go through the motions in order to get blood and heat up the entire shoulder area. And this doesn't count as sets. This don't count as anything like that. This is strictly just for a warm-up before we even get started. The first thing we're going to do is side laterals, and I'll explain what a side lateral is in just a second. And while you're doing this, you don't want to, you don't have to over exaggerate and go way out. What you're wanting is from about right here at your stomach, and then you just externally rotate. And once you feel that pull, you're done. So here, 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 here. And this, as you can see how thin this rubber band is. And if you want to increase the tension on the rubber band, of course, step away from it. If it's too much and it's the only rubber band you got, just move back closer in, so that way it's not pulling too much. So on this, whenever you go to the internal rotation, it's the same thing. You don't start out here. Start right here, get it to where it's a little bit, the tension's just a little bit from right here, and then pull straight over. One more thing we add to the warm-up too is to where your shoulders are parallel with the ground, and rotate up. And you don't want to go, so from the side, you're like this. That's as far as I can rotate. If you can rotate farther, that's fine. But just right here, get you about 15 to 20 of these combined with the band work before you even start. What that does is, 1, it prevents injury, and 2, if you're old like me, it gets everything warmed up. So that way everything doesn't ache, it doesn't hurt whenever you start going through the actual workout. If you're young, you really want to do this to strengthen your rotator cuff, especially if you're in some type of sport. So that way, because if you have a shoulder injury, that's going to put you down, it's going to put you out for a few months. So be sure to take care of your rotator cuffs. All right, so what we're going to start off with, we're going to start off with side laterals. On side laterals, the key to this is, it's all right to use a little bit of body English whenever you're coming up, but you just don't want to use an absolute, you don't want all the motion to be body English, so that's when you know you're going too heavy. So another thing with this is, you don't want to bend your arm too much, and you don't want to straighten it completely out. So you want just a little bit of bend, and then when you come up to the side, it's like you're pouring out a tea pitcher. So you want to pour the water out at the top. And once you do that, when you rotate at the top, you're activating that side delt, which is this part right here, which is what you're trying to target right here. So you got your front, rear delt, and right now what we're targeting is that side delt. So the reason you want to target that, what this does is when you get that look from the front, it gives you the nice round capped shoulders from the front looks. So that's what gives you that bowling ball effect right here on the side. So again, whenever you come up, you pour out at the top. And on this, on the first set, we're going to do about 20, and then we're going to continuously go down in reps and up in weight from there. Okay, so also on these, whenever you start to get tired, if you're working out with somebody, the correct way to spot on this is, so he's going out to the side, he starts to get it where he can't do a full rep. Take the back of your hands, put it up under their elbows, and just kind of guide them up a little bit. So that way they can get out a few more reps. So it's a little tip on helping spot whenever you're doing side lateral. Okay, so move from side laterals, now we're doing seated plate loaded shoulder press. So on this, it's kind of the same as a dumbbell, but the difference is you're not having to use your stabilizers in this, and you can focus more on the shoulder. So depending on your hand placement and how high you sit and stuff like that, it's going to hit different areas of the shoulder, but the main focus here is your front delt, because that's the biggest delt, and that's where all your pressing comes from. So with this, basically the movement on it, after you come up, when you come down, you want to go a little bit below parallel and then go back up. And see, with me, I don't lock fully out because I want to keep stress on the muscle itself. So you come to here, and then I come back right here. So I'm about an inch from lockout. What that does is it keeps every bit of that pressure on the front delt. So if you're wanting to build muscle, the way to build muscle is time under tension. So if you go up and you lock out, you're putting all your pressure on the joints, and you're taking it completely off of that front delt right there. So you want to keep it, so that's why you stay with your arms bent like that. So y'all try that next time you're doing those. So we worked up to a max set of 3 on this. So now I'm doing what they call a drop set, which is basically you cut the weight in half, and most time you try to at least double the reps, but typically it's just till failure, whatever that is. So we're going to do a drop set with 2 plates. All right, so whenever you're doing these, you rest your head against the incline bench, but whenever you do these, see, he's not coming straight out, and he's not coming back this way. He's actually going up forward towards his ears. So when you come straight out, you're using a lot of tricep. When you come back, bringing your lats and everything to it. When you go forward, you're actually making that rear delt engage more and use less muscles around it than you are of any other movement. So when you do these, you want to go out and towards your ears. Elbows can be slightly bent, but you don't want them like this. And whatever you do, don't bring them back. So that's such a small muscle that it doesn't take a lot of weight if you do this properly. You don't have to have, you see people slinging 70s and they're using their lats whenever they do that. They're not using the little bitty rear delt. And what this muscle does, that's good, Chum. What this muscle does is basically, if you look at the side right there, how your front delt, when you do incline, bench, anything like that, it gets a lot of work. So what this does when you turn to when you're getting looked at from the side, it makes the whole shoulder look like a square instead of just flat in the back. It gives you that nice boulder looking shoulder from the side. So if you look at it from the front, the side delts is what gives you that boulder looking shoulder from the front. And then from the side, the rear delt is actually what caps the shoulder off and make everything look complete. So another thing with these too, to increase the intensity and the angle, if you change your grip up on this, so the more you go in here, the harder it is as you go out, versus if you put it all the way to the outside and go out, you'll feel it less. But if you grab it more on the inside as you go out, the actual weight will feel heavier. That's just a simple, easy way to add more intensity using the same amount of weight. Or you could actually change it up during, while you're doing your reps. So you could start with the inside, rest just a second, go to the middle, do a few like that, rest for a second, then go to the outside and finish them off. Forward just a little bit. And if you haven't done these before, to where you're actually going forward, it's a game changer on how you'll feel it in your rear delt. This will probably build your rear delt more than any other thing that you do. My second favorite thing to do is a reverse pec deck, because it's mimicking the same thing. And but other than that, this is my favorite exercise for rear delts. All right, so the last thing we're going to do, we're going to finish out. We're going to go back to side laterals, and we're going to use the bands. All right, so in order to use the bands, again, side lateral, we're hitting the side. So you got the front, the side, and the rear. So what we're going to do is we're going to step on the band, and we're going to put this on the back side of our wrist. So This rubber band is a little bit thicker, so it's going to be a little harder. So you don't have to come all the way up with it. So basically there's a couple different versions. You can try to pull it up like this and out, which you're still using your sides, or go straight from here and just go out to the side. Either way, you're going to use your side laterals, and this is a great way to warm up and or as a finisher at the end. And today we're going to use them as finishers. So you do a few this way. Whenever you can't do that anymore, then you go straight in and just pulling it out to the side. And eventually it'll get to where you can't even move it. Once you do that, you're done. Rest a little bit, get another set, do 2 or 3 of those at the end of the workout, then you're done. All right, everybody, so that's the end of the shoulder workout. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all got some good tips off of it. This can be used as a beginner workout. If you're going to use it as a beginner, just try 3 sets, except just do 1 rubber band failure at the end. If you don't have a plate loaded shoulder press, just substitute dumbbells for it. And if you're wanting to bump it up, intermediate or advanced, add more sets, add more intensity, do drop sets, pause sets. And if you're an intermediate or advanced, you already know what that is. So like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed it, and y'all stay tuned until the next video.